And we're live.
Excellent. Hello world, this is the pod layer proof of concept demo team doing our weekly experiments. It'll follow our normal 3-act structure. Act 1 is fundamentals. We go over the physiological cues that make up the foods reading lexicon, and we'll be using collages as usual to make that association between the qualia categories of mojos and their various powers and alchemies and actual representative samples. And I believe we're working on...
We are in the 80s right now, and we are going into designing women.
Nice, and that is a TV show timeline. Okay, Act 2 will be the intermediate portion where we go over the quiz. We've had 1 week to work on samples that have been put forward by Mitchell this week. Mitchell put forward samples. We've had a week to work on them, and we'll see how people did. The most challenging samples will get reviewed. What was challenging about them? Hello? Okay. And then Act 3 will be the advanced portion. We'll do a live mojo reading on the Google Hangout. All right, so we'll do introductions, and then I'll hand over to Jailene for the collaging. I am Nai G. Coach.
I am Jailene.
I'm Zion Nicodemus.
I'm Naiji Mitchell.
I'm Naiji Ben.
I am Nijai Infiniti.
This is Naiji Glenn.
Excellent. All right, so I'll hand over to Jailene and take it away. Collaging.
Great. Yeah. Beginning with that and starting with designing women.
All right. Designing women. Outspoken feminist Julia Sugarbaker runs a design firm out of her Atlanta home, along with her shallow ex-beauty queen sister Suzanne, divorced mother Mary Jo, and naive country girl Charlene. Black ex-con Anthony helped deliver furniture for the business and voiced his unique opinion on what other women are discussing. Episodes typically revolve around the work, personal, and love lives of these 4 women.
Nizai Dixie Carter as Julia Sugarbaker. As Nizai, she will have she has G as her emoting power, and you can see that in the aware quality of the mouth. And because she is logic-based, though, because she has Zai over G, the emotive expression doesn't really go above the midline, and so the smile goes sideways rather than upward into the cheeks.
Okay, next we have Nizai Apots. Because the Nizai are Nimojos, you're going to see, actually specifically since the Ni Alpha, then you're going to see not just the dancing eye quality, the diffuse dispersedness of their eyes, but also this naturally open drinking in quality.
I know. I had an issue for a second. Anyway, this is Nijai Messhatch Taylor. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But as a Nijai, he is values-based. So you're going to see the emotive expression on his face going readily above the midline and into the eyes, and he is in fact emoting in both of these pictures. So not into the eyes, just below the eyes, but readily above the midline. And he's emoting in these pictures, so you will see that happen.
This is Nizai Jean Smart. Another thing that Nizai have is Vi as their other perception power. It is their modulation power. So you can see, as well as the knee, you can also see a little bit of concern in the eyes. A very slightly pinched quality. In fact, you can see it a little bit more on the left picture. You can see that quality.
Nizai Delta Burke as Suzanne Sugarbaker. Alright, so Nizai have Zai cheeks, and so often they have these sheer cheeks. You can see it a little bit more on the picture to the right. That often there are these sheer cheeks that, while there is G articulation that goes up, it kind of gets stopped to a certain degree by the sheer cheeks, which is reminiscent of Zai.
Yeah.
Perfect strangers. A high-strung and cynical man's life is never the same when his naive but good-natured cousin comes to America to live with him. Bulky Bartokomos Bartok, a sheep herder from the small Mediterranean Greek life island of Mypos, travels to the United States in search of his relatives. He finds his cousin Larry Appleton, who has recently escaped from his large-sized family and is reveling in the unaccustomed luxury of having his own room to himself. They end up sharing accommodation in Larry's apartment, even though the two cousins could not be more dissimilar. For a while, Larry is panicky, hyper. I can't see because the thing gets in the way. Could it just? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
For a while, Larry is panicky, hyperventilative, businesslike, and mercenary. Bulky is placid, unharried, sunny-natured, and idealistic.
Nizi Bronson Pinchot as Balky. You can see here he has the hunter quality. In his case, it has quite a soulful quality because of the strong Zhai development he has. In fact, up there on, actually both of them, you can see the Nai and the Zhai, the kind of 1,000-yard stare or like looking through someone quality the Nai Alpha have. In his case, has a soulful quality. So as he's got that cunning, sort of otherworldly, dreamy quality of the eyes, also notice the activation of the Zhai in the lower lip in both the photos. Kind of neat look. I've always thought it was neat both these Zez hunters have that. They have a very, bracing, no-nonsense gaze on the Nai, but then the other subjective power is very, very soulful. It's just really quite unique and spiffy.
Nizi Mark Lynn Baker as Larry Appleton.
Okay, Zynie or Mulaney Wilson. We haven't done Zynie yet. So the Zynie are Xi Alpha, so that makes them discernment lead mojos, but specifically towers. So you're going to see the mouth popping before the eyes, but there's going to be a longness to that because they're towers. Yeah, that's good.
Mitchell?
Mitchell.
Mitchell?
Mitchell?
Did we lose you?
Uh-oh.
Let's just skip them then.
Yeah, let's just skip him for this round.
Yeah.
Ben.
Okay, Zynie Rebecca Arthur.
L.A. Law, the lives and work of the staff of a major L.A. law firm. This popular TV drama depicted life in a large Los Angeles law firm. The plots were strongly character-based and dealt with both the personal lives and professional activities of the partners, associates, and staff. Scenes centered around the courtroom and law offices. Often an episode would open with a surprising twist, which would then be played out during the rest of the show.
Genai Corbin Burnson. Genai are they have G as their source power, so that comes along with their emoting going all the way up to the brow line, and it also comes with a unifield face, which is something that gives them a full-faced sort of look instead of the bifield face, which is more of a perception over in the eye area, and the discernment is sort of being more double in terms of the eyes and the mouth kind of being separated. The unifield face is more whole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shiny Jill Eikenberry.
I believe Shiny.
That's new. Okay. Shiny are discernment lead as well, but unlike the pilots, who have the more full-faced unifield, they have the more long, elongated tower unifield face. So you can see here on the photo on the left, definitely she's on the Zhai side. The Zhai goes on the full face. You can see it kind of giving like a a warmness to the eyes as well. And then on the right photo, she's not doing that much Zhai comparatively, but you can still see how much it actually affects her face and overall emotive expression. And on both of them, the energy is more in the lower lip. Cool.
Nizy Alan Rakins.
Nijai, Michael Tucker.
Yes.
Mitchell, it's your go.
I can't see it, unfortunately.
Okay. Should I go
Sorry, I'm
then?
having
or-
internet issues.
Yeah, so we'll just skip.
Yeah, might as well go back.
Actually, I can see it now. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay. Nizy, Richard Dysart as Leland McKenzie.
Nizy, Susan Rutten.
Gene I. Blair Underwood.
Nijai, Larry Drake.
Shiny Susan Day. Was she in the one of those? Not the Parker Family, not the Brady Bunch, but the was it the Parker Family? The Singh family? I think she was. She's the older daughter.
G.I. Jimmy Smith.
Nizy, Harry Hamlin.
Oh,
Oh no, it's getting all Picasso'd out.
dang. Fired it up again.
I like that.
Shiny Michelle Green as Picasso.
As a piece of Picasso.
And we're
There we
back.
go.
That one's for you, Mitchell.
Oh, I already thought I said it. Anyway, Shiny Michelle Green.
Oh,
Nizy, John Spencer.
Matlock. Ben Matlock is a very expensive criminal defense attorney who charges $100,000 to take a case. Fortunately, he's worth every penny as he and his associates defend his clients by finding the real killer.
That's quite steep, though.
Coach, you're.
Shiny Andy Griffith as Benjamin Matlock.
Shiny Nancy Stafford.
Shiny Julie Summit.
Baishi, Clarence Gillard.
That's a
Junior.
new Pokemon.
Baishi is new. Baishi. Alright, so let's see, I want to play this. Alright, so Vaijis are hunters. So you're going to see a steady gaze. I don't want to say penetrating, but kind of pushing. Yes, a boundary-setting gaze with them. For the Vaiji, it's going to be concerned since it's fine. Next.
Red Shiny Keen Holiday.
Nijai, Linda Pearl.
Werewolf. Young Eric has been bitten by a werewolf. However, he's not particularly thrilled by this turn of affairs and wishes to escape his curse. To do so, he must find and kill the founder of his particular werewolf clan. The series traces his efforts to A, track down the founder, B, keep from hurting innocent lives due to his lycanthropy, and C, stay one step ahead of folks who wish to kill him due to his werewolf nature.
Jivi John J. York as Eric Cord. Jivi have Vi as their tandem power, so it gives them this more concerned and it's momentum for them, so they get energized by using it. not quite as much as their G, but also to a certain degree, it's because it's their minor momentum.
Z Lance. How do I pronounce the show?
Lego.
Lego. Lance Lego. That's awesome.
Z Chuck Connors.
Looks sort of like Willem Dafoe.
Nizy Brian Thompson.
Zai Ethan Phillips.
Isn't he Neelix?
He is Neelix.
Yeah.
The Morton Downey Jr. Show. Morton Downey Jr. moderates a raucous, if that's how you say it, shock jock talk show. One of the early talk shows, Downey was a precursor to the later hosts such as Jenny Jones, Ricky Lake, and Jerry Springer. Ooh, Jerry Springer, 5G. Downey's show trended to focus on political rather than personal issues, but guests were still chosen on the basis of their dislike for one another, and their tendencies to lose their temper suddenly, loudly and violently. These outbursts were encouraged by moderator Downey, who would continually goad his guests to their limits.
This guy.
Z9 Morton Downey Jr. as himself. So, isn't that a new one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. So, they are Z Alpha, and so there's this bracing, very deadpan articulation that goes on, very straight shooting to the point, which is very indicative of Morton Downey in general, and you can kind of see it just, I guess, in both of these poses that he's gonna straight shoot.
No.
Beauty and the Beast. The adventures and romance of a sensitive and cultured lion man and a crusading assistant district attorney in Manhattan, New York City. Ron Koslow's updated version of the fairy tale has a double focus: the relationship between Vincent, a mythic noble man-beast, and Catherine, an assistant DA in New York, and a secret utopian society of outcasts living in an underground sanctuary where Vincent is protected and loved. Through an emotional bond connecting Vincent to Catherine, he comes to be her protector as well as the man she loves. The series follows the developing relationship between them and nicely fleshes out the underground world of labyrinth tunnels, mystical waterfalls, and people who have come together to form a loving and nurturing family.
Z Ron Perlman as Vincent.
Ziny Roy Dotris as Jacob Father Wells.
I think we do, yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Nizy J. Akabone. Or Akabone.
Zai Linda Hamilton.
Ah, so it's inspirational.
Jibai Renwoods. And we've already done Jibai.
Yeah.
The Tracy Ullman Show. Tracy Ullman hosts a variety show containing sketches, song and dance routines, and The Simpsons.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, or I remember hearing about. Yeah.
Naiji, Tracy Ullman as various characters. Have we done the Naiji yet?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
That's the grand question.
Nope.
All right,
So crazy it's taking this long.
Insane.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Nizy just don't show up that often.
All right. So Naiji have Nai as their source power, which gives them a dreamy, lucid kind of quality. And whenever they go to their left, you can see them do a drift, and it's going to be their major momentum whenever they use it.
Yeah, one thing that's excellent, Glenn. One thing I want to try doing more of for those who are watching this is to try and note what we may be seeing in the actual specific photos. Also, since we say these cues, again and again, the fundamentals, the one thing that'll keep it fresh is kind of relating it to the photographs that are being displayed. So that's something in general we'll just kind of do more of.
Okay, so I'll just add something else then.
Okay, cool.
Her emoting, you can see that she has G, and you can see that there's an awareness on the upper lip there. So that's also something that I thought was interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
Z Dan Castellaneta.
As Homer Simpson.
Nice. Sam McMurray.
Nizy Julie Kavanagh.
Zenai Nancy Cartwright.
As Bart Simpson.
Eat my shorts.
Ben.
Ben.
Oh yeah. Nijai Yeardley Smith.
Oh, there's another one.
Wise guy.
Vinny Terranova does time in a New Jersey penitentiary to set up his undercover role as an agent for the OCB, Organized Crime Bureau of the United States. His roots in the traditional Italian city neighborhood form the underlying dramatic base throughout the series, bringing him into conflict with his conservative mother and other family members while acting undercover as a syndicate enforcer. The segments, which ran several shows each, included in-depth and empathetic characterizations of the players on both sides of the law. Scenarios include the underbelly of the recording industry, protection rackets, international arms dealing, foiling white supremacist plotters, uncovering a government conspiracy to set up a compliant new head of state in a third world country, and Vinny's final reconciliation with his Italian mother and her new husband, the purely legendary mafia figure Don Ayupo.
Nice. Glenn, you have this one.
Right. Nizy Ken Wall as Vinny Terranova.
Nizy Jonathan Banks.
Nijai Jim Burns.
Ginai William Russ.
Nizy Ken Jenkins. Looks terribly familiar.
I think it's from Scrubs.
He is. Yeah, that's why.
Ben, you're up.
Ah yes, Nizy Patty D. Arbenville.
Nizy Ray Sharkey.
Elsa Raven is pending.
Ziny Jones Severance.
Ginai Stephen Bauer.
Oh, cool.
Jaini Cecil Hoffman.
Back in the day.
Roy Evan Spacey.
Oh, cool.
Was he something else?
So, Kevin Spacey?
Yeah.
Yeah, who is that man?
Usual Suspects.
Usual
Kaiser
Suspects.
Soze, American Beauty.
American Beauty,
Um,
Negotiator.
Negotiator,
He's
yeah.
now in the really popular one on Netflix. Or was it Netflix? The one.
All right.
Right. Oh gosh. House of Cards.
He's
House
a
of
very
Cards.
he's a very big actor. So this is actually a role very early in his career. But yeah, he's very well known for lots. Seven. It was a Seven as well.
Seven.
So he's
House
got a lot-
of Cards. He was in
Major
the
player.
Superman Returns. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Is it? Are you up, Ben?
I think so, yeah. 21 Jump Street. The cases of an undercover police unit composed of young-looking officers specializing in youth crime. 21 Jump Street is the headquarters for a squad of police officers who specialize in investigations relating to young people. Each of the Jump Street personnel was selected for their ability to pass for high school or college students, allowing them to operate undercover in areas where it is difficult for regular police officers to blend in unnoticed.
Nizy Johnny Depp.
Breakout rule.
Yeah.
Nijai Peter DeLuise.
DeLuise. Related
DeLuise.
to
Dom?
DeLuise.
Son? Probably.
Fascinating.
I think a son or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense.
My turn. Jivi Holly Robinson Pete.
9Z Stephen Williams.
Ginai Dustin Nguyen.
Nizy Richard Glico. Pico.
Jake and the Fat Man. Veteran District Attorney Fat Man McCabe solves cases with the help of his easygoing private investigator partner, Jake Styles.
Nijai William Conrad.
Genai Joe Penny.
Alan Campbell is pending. Alan.
Different world. A group of students at a historically black university struggle to make it through college.
Jaini Kadim Hardison.
Nizi Jasmine Guy.
Nizai Daryl M. Bell.
G.Vi Don Lewis.
Jaini Cree Summer.
Shiny Lou Myers.
Jaini Glenn Turman.
Nijai Sinbad.
Sinbad.
Mitchell.
Sorry, my turn.
Yeah.
Nizi Jada Pickett Smith.
Jade.
Jada Pickett Smith.
Johnny Corey Tyler.
Nijai Lisa Bonet.
Nijai Marissa Tomei.
All right, let's pause there.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Next
good place to
time.
pause.
Next time. We have that to look forward to.
Huh, huh.
Start.
Engage.
Engage.
Alrighty.
Alrighty then, so that concludes Act 1, the fundamentals. We're now moving on to Act 2, intermediate, the weekly quiz. So these samples came from Mitchell. So we'll start with Glenn, work back towards Jilene, but Mitchell, you'll go last. You'll go after Jilene.
All right. I will call out the first one. The first requisite sample is James Harris Simons, a mathematician, billionaire, hedge fund manager, and philanthropist. What did you go with, Glenn?
For him, I said Naishi.
I said Nijai.
I said Sinai. He was really hard though for me.
What'd you say?
I said Naiji.
I said Naizi. And
I said Naiji, but I found him challenging.
what is the correct answer?
We're reviewing him tonight. I believe
Honestly.
is a Vizi.
Ironically, those were the two I was between.
That was-
I thought I was saying Hunter.
That was giving me my second guess. I was V9 by Z. I knew it was a Z.
Wow.
I ended up thinking
Oh, that was tough.
He's a cool sample.
Yeah, he was. Derek, yeah, because I should have seen those were Franzi, hard Franzi.
Right, yeah.
Derek Mueller, science communicator, also known by his YouTube vlogger name of Veritasium. What did you say for him, Glenn?
I said Naishi for him.
I said Nijai.
I said Naiji.
What did you say?
Naiji.
I said Nijai. What did you say, Mitchell?
I said Naiji.
Okay.
Naishi. Is
Ah,
that the guy with the thin beard?
yeah.
We read him at
So
one
I can
point
see where people
before.
can shy with him.
Okay. Lizzie Hale, music artist from Van Hailstorm. What'd you say, Glenn?
I said Naishi.
How about you, Vinny?
I said Naizi.
No.
I said, oh wait.
Yeah, Ben.
Oh yeah, Naiji. That's what I said.
I said Naizi.
I said Naiji. And what'd you say, Mitchell?
I said Naiji, but Naiji is a very interesting answer.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way.
I believe we'll also be visiting this one tonight.
Aww. What is she?
I'd like to take another look myself, but I believe this is a Genai with lots of 9.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's
I
interesting.
was actually.
That's
I was
actually
considering
very interesting.
dude.
You know what? I
considered it.
Do we have
Yeah.
any other Genai female music artists?
Yeah.
oh yeah, Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Oh right, duh, yeah.
There's more than that.
Okay, next one. James Watson, molecular biologist, Nobel Prize winner for the co-discovery of DNA structure with Nizai Francis Crick. What'd you say, Glenn?
I said Naiji, but I'm having second thoughts now.
I said Nijai.
How about you, Ben?
I said Ziny.
Tiny.
I said Zaini. What'd you say?
The knees eye.
He was tough. The footage was hard to work with there, but I believe that's an IG.
No.
I was on that first.
I was between those two.
The age threw us in the field of science threw a significant amount of on that one.
Yeah.
Last one, the requisites, tool-time 9901, a blogger, also known by his YouTube blogger name of Tooltime, photographer, music artist. What you say, Glenn?
Yeah, I said Naiji.
Okay. Anthony?
I said Zinai.
Ben?
I said Naiji.
What'd you say?
Naiji.
I said Naiji. What'd you say?
Okay.
Naiji.
Okay. Okay, I got one. I'm
No, it's kind of actually trickier than I expected.
optional samples. Karl Popper, philosopher of science, famous for epistemology of falsificationism.
Very, very important. Philosopher science.
Oh, falsification. What'd you say? Did you guess on this one, Glenn?
Yeah, I guessed on all the optional ones, and for him I said Naiji.
How about
Pass.
you? Okay. Ben?
I pass on this one.
I'm out at this point. So.
I passed on him. What'd you
I
say?
said Naishi.
Naiji.
Knew it.
Okay. Gavin Wentz, a philosopher and mathematician. What'd you say for this one, Glenn?
I said Naiji.
I said Nijai.
You passed on all of them, Ben? Or...
Oh, I guess on Antoine, but I didn't guess on any of the other ones.
Okay. So you guessed on, sorry, you guessed on which one? I didn't quite...
Antoine.
The next
Antoine.
symbol, not this
Oh,
one.
okay, cool. Gotcha. Did you guess on him? I passed, yeah.
I said Naishi.
He was tough, but I think this is Nijai.
Okay.
Ah.
Very academic Nijai, but I think it's Nijai.
Okay. Antoine Bandel, blogger. What'd you guess for him, Glenn?
Naiji.
Pass all the way to the end.
Naiji.
I said Naiji for him.
So did I.
Naiji.
Last one is Robin Bryanton, an author.
We took him off. He's
No.
off.
Wow.
Yep.
You took the last two off. That's it.
Okay.
All right, so there's several to take a look at. So we'll start with
First three.
first three. James Harris.
James Simons Harris. You said Vizy.
Yeah.
Or James Harris Simons. I said it backwards.
So start with the first one.
Middle name's Harris.
Okay, so you guys were guessing what? Nizi, Z, Ni, Nijai. So most of you.
Naishi.
Okay, so some were saying Naiji. Okay, I was wondering if you guys were seeing the discernment, but I'll touch on those two.
Seen Hunter.
Yeah, I got Hunter. I guess Zinai, but if you guess Naiji, that would be Hunter.
Yeah, I said Naiji for him. But yeah, he does seem very much like a hard shiny, but not really shiny. Yeah.
One thing was very helpful was audio is the drone.
Yeah, definitely.
I was wondering,
Oh.
I thought that was a Sean Connery thing, but yeah, you're right.
I think, yeah, it's interesting. It's Naishi.
Also talked about this week of algebra where everything.
For those who think of IG,
Yeah. Is
that
a
lower
common
lip
thing?
has the most energy.
Is this a
kind of
thing
hang
that always
low.
happens? There's this
Slack,
moment where
expected.
all the cogs move into place, and it's like, oh, I get
You ever hear slack?
yeah, there are moments like that.
True. You look like me. I don't ever have that.
I think in hindsight, I really was seeing Hunter. I just like I couldn't reconcile to buy Z. I went with Z9.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
As,
Like something else throws you, and then you just.
yeah.
It has a lot of need.
They say, oh yeah, okay.
You can see a good amount of need, brightness in the eyes.
A lot of in mathematics is making definitions. You see things that.
I found him actually surprisingly very interesting to want to listen to. I thought his ideas, some of his life story. Normally, I don't tend to always feel that way about literals, but he was particularly interesting.
All these notions, and that's a great way that mathematics.
There's a lot of these very academic
because when you
YZ that are interesting.
they have similar characteristics. Then you can try to prove theorems about the
Yeah,
general
it's more of
set of
just,
things rather than some
like
particular
focus on
example.
that,
And that turns out to be a very
conceptual side
powerful
of
approach.
things.
So
Yeah.
making
But,
it
politician.
There was the one on Fuchs that
The
goes
more pioneering,
theoretical physicist.
the more, because it's like YZ
They wanted me
astronauts
to go
too. It's
Berkeley.
like I really want to
get
hear
away
their
from
story.
MIT.
You know? It's I even like hearing it in their
Faculty,
YZ
because I was
way.
quite
Yes,
close to
like
the
agreed.
MIT faculty,
Sure.
And they thought, I think they didn't want to get rid of me so much as they thought I was probably pretty good, so I should get exposed to. A certain guy named Chern, who was just coming to Berkeley
So,
that year,
drone,
and I got
Hart Franzi, those
scholarship, and I went
gesturings.
there, I was very eager
his
to work
cadence,
with
for those who are
Chern,
thinking
and
pilot,
he
it's
said he
two
He
pause,
celebrated
strike.
his first year.
Yeah, I was seeing that.
Pause, strike.
Yeah.
Monologue, yeah.
That's a classic Hunter
So
rhythm.
people wasn't there. So I went with another guy, which
Actually, YZ he kind of reminded me of that. I'm sort of thinking
by the time Chern came,
overall icon.
second year, I was already.
I can see how some
Also-
people thought that what you're hearing is that classic Jai with C gravelly, but in addition to that is also
my
drone.
second year at Berkeley, and then watched this tall Chinese guy.
All right, so
And I
go ahead
said
and each should chime in at least a little bit to make sure you got it.
Sure.
Take those times you need.
I didn't know he was
Yeah, I mean,
Chinese.
I can see it.
I thought Chern was
I was
probably
between
short
the
for
two, and I ended up
Chernowski or
going
something.
IC,
Or
but
he was
I
probably
see
some
that
Polish
he
guy
has-
who had shortened his name to Chern.
it's hard
If it had
to
been
see.
Chan or Chan,
Yeah,
I would
me.
have known this guy.
Yeah.
But Chern with the R. But anyway, so I met Chern then, and we became friends. Of course, I was much younger than he was, friends, and later collaborated.
Can you give some idea about what your area of specialization is at this point? What are you zeroing in
interesting.
mathematically?
Well, at that point, I'm pretty much thereafter.
Yeah, he was reminding me of like
That I
Sean
worked
Connery
with is
doing
called
that. That's
differential
why-
geometry.
and
Differential
Morgan
geometry is
Freeman voice,
geometry.
but
That is the
they're
But it's like
geometry
clear,
of
grappling,
fluid
they're
space.
But it's
yeah.
like
It's not flat, but
gravelly,
it's inclined.
gravelly
It's
soulful.
it's
Yeah.
any shape or form, but typically with some distance function, so that you knew how far apart things were.
I can definitely hear the phi in the voice.
And manifold, there's a lot of pieces.
Heavier,
It's
more.
like a interesting, almost like documentarian
So,
voice
for
that you
example, the
sometimes
surface
hear
of a sphere
in those really
is a
good
manifold.
YC
Now, it's
sportscasters.
not just
Yeah.
Where they kind of
Yeah, I mean,
like
like people
picture
listening to
like
Sportscaster.
you're watching something
sphere
dramatic
that,
now.
but you could glue
He's
a
going to the
bunch of
9,
pieces of paper
the
together
8.
and make a
Here we are, ladies.
It does kind of
It's
sound like a
it's
sportscaster.
In your neighborhood.
very stately,
Looks like it's
but has a lot
ridiculous,
of
but
gravitas.
it's
Yeah.
purple, but globally,
Yeah.
it could be
Then
quite
the
different. So,
event.
Hey, it sounds like it could be a baseball announcer.
tire
Yeah.
of a donut, for example, is fundamentally different from the surface of a sphere. You can't deform one into the other. What really got
I think one of the things that made me think Naiji was just because of the conceptual nature of the topics that he was talking about, math and all that, but I didn't really look into.
Yeah, because like he's a mathematician, right? So it's
Yeah.
most of
Yeah,
most
because
of the,
we had that kind of characterization of it before, and it might not be correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
Broadens our understanding of, you know.
is
Billionaire part was a little
And
bit.
also,
Yeah, it's kind of a curveball, right?
this kind of riff are very rare
first derivative
and are very reluctant to go on camera. So it's kind of really a cool
from A
opportunity
to
here.
B.
Most
Well,
of IZ
that
that we
gets
see
you
the upper
back
level
to
ones,
the
they
original
do
function.
handle themselves
The
very
answer
well on camera and so forth, but they generally just don't like
the
to do it.
derivative
Yeah.
is of f. It's f of b minus f of a. That's the answer. If you integrate the derivative of a
If
function.
possible, could you guys maybe lower the volume just a little bit
Well, that's
on your speakers?
in calculus, because we can
Yep.
do that. Now that had been generalized into higher dimensions, so there were other things you could integrate and differentiate and go from boundaries to interiors and so on.
He sounds like someone who can give a financial report.
Mm-hmm.
Was to me, almost breathtaking.
Actually, sounds a bit like Walter Cronkite.
Yes.
And that,
Yes, just Walter Cronkite very much helped me with him.
Okay,
He
cool.
had events with the sports casting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Definitely.
cool.
That voice, I've heard this voice before. But it was unusual association because we don't have all these kind of riffs and
Right.
sportscaster voice.
Okay, now Derek Mueller.
Okay, did anyone get him
totally
right?
get-
Who?
This
Who got him
guy's.
right?
What's his mojo?
He's Naiji.
Yeah, I believe a lot of people got him right.
Okay, do we
Can you show me how
I
the
think-
upper
I
lip
think-
is dominant? I feel like I felt like the lower lip was the. Although I'm a little bit.
Okay, right,
similar.
okay.
Too, I went with Nijai.
Well, there are probably two.
He's more of an impish kind of Naiji, but this is a Naiji. But go ahead, this is great then. So if people could help out seeing why this is Ji with Zai, and also why it's
I want to note, though, that there are two other ones that I think we struggled with more in the required samples. So if we can get to all of them, that'd be good.
yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
So that's-
I concur with that.
I was going to pass on them, but if that is an issue, I would like to address it. So let's go ahead. I want to get all four.
How do you make a film that teaches people about science?
Oh, could I get the link?
This is a TED Talk.
Yeah, there might be better videos than this.
Thank you. I feel like we read this guy at one point before. I'm not sure. I couldn't find him in the 15.
You know, maybe that is true because he does look a little familiar to me, I guess.
Maybe you
I'm
can
not
see
sure.
In Australia, which I'm really proud of, and of course, it's one of the only really big science channels in Australia or even globally. It's ranked
Yeah,
number
like I
7
felt I
among
was seeing the lower
education
lip more.
channels. So,
He's got
so
percussion
yeah,
here,
Yeah.
walking,
really been received
a forward
by a lot of
hunter
people.
hunch,
I think a lot of that comes
and
down
quick,
to just this
quick.
Yeah, I actually compared him to the physiology of some Nijai, but I ended up thinking his eyes were too piercing.
Yeah,
And it was
he
too
kind of
much
has
upper
this
lip.
like, he has this sort of like delight kind of quality.
Yeah, he has a
right?
very geeky delight in the tapas. He's disgusting, and Naiji can have that, but it's very driven.
I see what you mean, though. But like, yeah.
I was really kind of results oriented.
He's like in love with math, I think, and that's kind of like comes through and makes you think Shiny Baby a little bit more, and kind of makes his eyes seem more buoyant and his mouth seem more poignant, but it's really dissatisfied and apparent.
Yeah. I think it was a point, Glenn. I think you explained that very well.
I feel like it's still like a really slinky upbeatness, where it is kind of like this chill cat
So
kind of
what I
energy.
had to believe was
Exactly, yeah.
I can work harder. I can be more dedicated to this.
Okay.
I can figure it out. And
Are
I
you
think
good with
that
it,
kind of
Infinity?
dedication
Yeah.
that really allows
To
Thanks, Shane.
the next one,
I'm
Lizzie
really
Hale.
interested.
And I think that question that I had could probably apply to every single guest because I actually went lower lip on a lot of these, so maybe that's a general theme.
She was tough for me because I thought I saw her right away. I saw Durham. I did see G. G was not an issue for me.
Yeah.
But she was very sensitive, twitchy, averted eye contact a lot, and generally had a lot of slinkiness. And so I had to really look to see was a G9, not an IG. So I look forward to a second look, but I believe it's a G9 with just a lot of 9.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing, bam, right there,
Yeah.
the mouth. The mouth pops.
Yeah, she did have a very prominent mouth. I did notice that. I just never really considered G9.
Oh, and she's kind of like.
And I saw the values going very high.
That played with against Robert Downey Jr. and
Absolutely,
yeah,
Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams, I riffed on
Right
heavily.
there.
So you guys will take a look at photos of Rachel McAdams. That helped. And Rachel McAdams is also a G9. Besides looking similar here, she also has a lot of 9 twitchy, slinky energy as well.
Right.
Yeah, she does have like.
I was going back and forth mainly between the Nijez, and it wasn't until later I kind of thought to myself, like, maybe she's a G9, but then it kind of like, I didn't like quite go with it because I thought her face was a bit too long, but it is kind of a little bit more like solid in the jaw.
And the mouth is, there's always mouth energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mouth energy
Eyes,
and
yeah.
it really helps to have the data because Rachel McAdams and also the music artist Elephant really helped me.
Right, elephant. From way back in the day.
Now see here, she does a slinky kind of undulating, an uncomfortable nigh, kind of like shrugging off stuff, energy in her shoulders, but the energy in the mouth is quite heavy. And see the G, it goes up her face.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Not physically at all, but someone like Sharon Stone and a few others that actually are very sensitive, very, very sensitive. Not as much as Nijai, but Jinai can also be very, very sensitive and kind of like, difficult getting comfortable.
Yeah. The eyes, they also are objective. They're unhooded. And the unifield face.
Yeah, what they have here, she nighs a lot on the unifield face, Glenn. You can see here she's unifield facing how much she scrunchies up in her eyebrows when she's 1,000-yard staring, which is helpful because it was tricky how much she is going into her subjective powers. She drifts and 1,000-yard stares and channels quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see where you're
When she
going.
comes
with that.
out, like her eyes.
Out of the G, I'll do it right there.
Like her eyes just really come alive, like when she comes out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I actually speculated Nijai because of that. Like I thought that because I was seeing the unhooded eyes at the moment, the natural state animation.
Yeah.
I actually thought about Naiji and interchanged for a bit Shiny because when she was in her subjective powers, how much she was getting it really goes up her face when she's inside. But I do believe that is a directive. I believe it's an eye. She goes aside like the G goes all. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
She has a lot of Nai, though. It's really interesting to see a lot of wariness, a lot of twitchiness. Her eyes also pop out in this interesting way, which looks frenzied, kind of, but it's not quite
she has
as...
like this very feral.
Yeah, but it's not. It feels more earth. It feels more normal, or it's still altered, but not quite like a Naiji.
Yeah, Coach mentioned to me once because I had a similar issue with another Jinai once, and he mentioned that like Jinai have these like eye flare-ups with their G and V that make their eyes pop a lot, and so you can confuse that for bifield, but it's really just.
That's a good point.
Like a very kind of
bright
G&V combination.
That's why I was moving
like lock onto people.
Like for the other Operon,
It really helped me to focus on how much she was getting into the drifting when she was doing it, because it can be confusing how much her emotiveness gets into it with that's actually going home. But she's actually going underwater and really getting into it.
Right.
That's an interesting thing. It's very cool.
Going underwater. Wow.
Oh yeah, big. That giggle that Gene and I do, they laugh. It's very kind of like washes over like away, like yeah.
Release the record. Secondly,
In some way, odd way, I should maybe pick it out. Every now and then she reminds me something about her Beck romance. I don't know what it is, particularly when she gets big mouth.
Yeah, the big mouth.
Something in those moments.
Smile, the grin.
this kind of live in the day thing with each other, whereas like we're trying to help each other become better musicians. So hopefully,
I think it's also the combination of the jaw. It's a strong jaw, very attractive, very feminine, but it's a strong jaw.
Yeah, I thought like the reason why I went back to Naiji after seeing that was I thought like maybe she's kind of like a Ronda Rousey kind of Naiji, but
yeah, she does look a bit like a subjective Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, but Ronda Rousey has more of like a roundish kind of ovally kind of looking face, where she has more of like a pilot helmet face kind of look. So that was a bit of a distinction.
Here, she's really good at this.
It also
Are we good?
Yeah, I'm going there.
Glad I requested her.
I kind of wonder what her brother is now, because her brother's like a guitarist in the band.
Yeah, I'm kind of wonder now.
This guy was hard. The media was tricky in this one.
Because he's old. I thought the media was fairly high quality. It was just...
So I think most of you are guessing Steiny. I can see that because he's older. He's more like a ton of Zai development. But two things. One, notice how if you freeze frame him when he's smiling, it's going into his cheeks. it goes up his face. And there's it can seem kind of almost like childish, so that may be why you're thinking that it's more adaptive, but there's a quickness to his laughter. He'll go, and then this happens, such and such. He has these little furtive laughters in there. And so those actually are hunter laughters, I believe. So look for those laughter moments, how quick they kind of come in and out, and also punctuate his point. But then also when he does smile, how much it goes with his face.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why many people said Nijai or other is because he's like a Naiji with a lot of shiny baby qualities too, I think.
Right. Again, I was going lower lip. I was really focusing on the lips. And
yeah.
Yes, and
he just has sensuous lips. Even now in his older age,
yes,
sunk in other areas, still his lips are quite voluptuous. So that's something to account for, because both his lips are quite full.
Right.
That is one beautiful molecular structure.
Here to Carolina to Seattle to...
Now his age gives a bit of a wobbliness to his movement, which may be confused with bobble. He was quite challenged in this regard. But I believe within that, I'm actually seeing slinky broken rhythm.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too, right now.
Yeah, and one thing really that popped out in the pictures, when he was younger, and even some of the pictures where he's older, his eyes, they look really piercing.
It's very piercing.
Yeah.
In his mouth, it looks kind of like...
Right there. He went down, looked up. You see it does. I'm telling you, the way he punctuates these little chuckles, they're very storyteller, extremely specific. Naiji tend to do it, almost the way comedians do, which is ironic, because that's not it. Right there. And so the naysayers said this last year. We later on found the research to be saying this. And, we have the best. We're pretty good. That's a very particular kind of way. In fact, I don't see it. Besides him being challenging, he's older. That storytelling style is kind of unusual in scientists. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson doesn't have that kind of like right there, little mischievous chuckle. You see that more in the performing arts, ironically.
I think I've seen more scientists that are like that, but I don't think it's necessarily in the majority. But I think.
So, big problem is sort of. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he's pleased with himself in a way that's generally with Xi momentum. In this case, it's not Xi in particular, but just like the last sample when she was doing it, when she was in her Nai, like her Xi was very pleased, emotively pleased. Him too, right there.
Pulling off like really unseeable maneuvers in a way. Taking pride in that, I think.
And he looks away a lot, but then he locks on and goes to little chuckles.
Yeah, he's really frenzied actually in his eyes.
Just if you know academic speak, this guy's got a lot of swagger, and that smile is conveying a tremendous amount of confidence.
Yes.
He's kind of talking professorially, but he's also like blah blah, and we know how that went.
Yeah.
He's kind of like
a lot of scientists do that actually.
He's establishing a lot of like Bardic Gibbons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
common for professors to do that, by the way. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Very common for professors to do that at this point. Yeah.
Ah, it's good to know. Good to know, because sometimes the Naiji that are more sciencey can be a little drier, a little more muted.
Yeah, you got a mixed bag.
Yeah. Almost sometimes they can be a bit nigh and zai to the point where self-satisfaction to a certain degree is unseemly. He's exuding a fair amount of self-satisfaction with his intellect, with his position, with what he's accomplished.
Yeah, he's more like show-offy about it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't say it's like show-offy, but there is
there's short
prideful to it.
They compared us with regard to the polymorphism.
This makes sense, because Zaini can be very powerful in their way, but they don't tend to actually, and also in this kind of field too, but they don't tend to have this particular like awareness of where he is in the tribe. Like these stories he's telling,
it's very clear.
If you can listen to the words, when he smiles, he's almost smiling exactly, very well beat-driven. Right here, he's selling his story. Like
until
A good storyteller will sometimes like say a good point to you, and then will chuckle or look you right in the eyes, will kind of like shrug with, jut with you to let you know I just told you a goodie. He's done that consistently. Each time he keeps doing it, and that's a thing, and we know how that is, and you feel it.
The entire genome, the whole population of islands. What you make about that, and what might it tell us? You know, these two separated for about 1,000 years. So,
That smile.
looking at what's been happening.
Yeah, lots of intensity in those eyes.
Right, just that
Very
smile.
squinty eyes. Very
I'm curious
squinty.
which Eileen and Demon's thing. That's ironic. I was thinking some of the other guys, like the performers. I see that actually mixed martial artists. Not when they're doing stare-offs, but when a nice commentator is asking about a match, and they're in a very friendly mood. They're like, well, you know, he's got some good jiu-jitsu and everything, but, you know, I'm not bad at jiu-jitsu either. And then, you know, he's going such and such, but, you know, and they're being very friendly and laid back, but there's like these little chuckles of confidence of like, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting. A lot of posturing.
I would say there is a little posturing, more pitching.
Pitching.
Yes, and when you pitch a point, at least from the G point of view, you do sort of tell the person emotionally how to feel. The Zaini will people they have well-developed G, but they don't tend to make it this is actually pretty much a consistent thing he's doing. I have not seen him stop going off in his nigh and being pleased with what he finds, saying a point, being pleased with that point, looking at the person and smiling in a pleased, confident manner. He's kind of like pleased and confident, pleased and confident, pleased and confident. I think to do it that much, that consistently would be exhausting to a Zaini, would not be helpful. They tend to hit you hard with the G when they're trying to make specific points of a principle. But to do it like through every beat, that would actually be excessive. That would be excessive modulation. It wouldn't be like fetishing strong. You see? He's not done. Yeah, he glances down, he looks up in the air, he looks at him, and each time he does it.
Yeah.
Self-satisfied smile, little chuckle. And going back to Anthony's word posturing, there is even that element as well, like I said, to the person.
Oh, yeah.
You're right, there is posturing, and also posturing for himself. That's something that G-Mojos just naturally do more is momentum. As he's talking out a point that he believes is a strong point, a G-Mojo, all four G-Mojos share this momentum. Their body language, unless they zai it, will naturally take on the confidence of the point they're making.
I believe that.
Jimmy, if they're talking about any kind of social engagement, they think they have the right of it. As they're explaining the right of it, they have a gesturing, a jutting, a rolling of the body that goes along with their confidence in that point. Moral confidence and reasoning confidence. And so,
yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's like a swagger, and he's very much he knows that he's a stud. And
Exactly. It's funny minutes, but in the context, he's like, yeah, you know. He's got a classic like that saying that they like downplayed badass, like. Oh,
yeah.
One thing that I was in researching his case is it's kind of like interesting. I find it interesting that someone that genius, that he found the DNA sequence that he holds ideas that are so, like, because he's been. I guess he's broke now, and he's trying to sell his Nobel Prize because of this comments that he's made. He's actually said things to the effect of that, like that it's scientifically proven that African American, that Africans are not, that Black people are not, don't have the same amount of intelligence as.
Right.
As I guess Caucasians.
Yeah, that it sabotaged his path.
Yeah, that's I guess now, nobody will hire him because of that. But
well, on that, yeah, his shortness can be very much misplaced, which is in that case.
Yeah.
And you also have to wonder what it is that is pointing to that point of view, what data you're researching. that seems kind of like a overly specific focus for someone in his field. Besides the point, obviously, that with Podler's research, we know that to try to define any differentials in any demographic bubbles out there in the human populace, you have to account for mojo. Otherwise, you know, there's all kinds of skewed things. Because you may study like a bunch of Nai from Zimbabwe and then study a bunch of like Zenai from Scandinavia, and you're like Scandinavians are like this and Zimbabweans are like this. So
Yeah, of course not.
everything all jumbled.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing that I've gotten to before is we talk about micro, macro, and apex. That's why the most important thing is apex, which is mojo, because it is important to break down subatomic structure and be able to figure out what are the absolute smallest units we can get to, and how do the smallest units of everything build up to everything. That's important. Macro is also important. You know, gravity, dark matter, string theory, membrane theory, Big Bang, pre-Big Bang, post-Big Bang. You know, that's important too, but it doesn't teach you about the human condition and meaning of existence. It teaches you some of what the game mechanics of existence are. If you look at, we're all studying, everyone who's doing like physics and high-level stuff, you know what I mean, like biochemistry, you know, evolutionary biology, those are scientific ways of saying I am trying to come up with a reason of the human condition in existence. But you're trying to figure out like the all of it, and clearly his view of that is off. So it begs the question: how can he be brilliant in certain ways and not that? And it's because micro and macro do not actually include.
That's right.
You don't build it like an SSD.
That's right.
The JES and the NES, which is what does that mean a person's supposed to do? Because just because you know how genomes work doesn't mean you're not an asshole. You know what I mean? Those two don't automatically go together. Just because you know where, you know, that there are more dimensions than people thought they were, and so your dimensional theory is more accurate, you can still be a complete jerk. You know what I mean? So the one, and it doesn't mean you know what meaning is. So to actually have a code of conduct or morality, you would have to go at the highest species or highest energy construct and figure out what makes them so much more advanced than everything else, and how can you make that more advanced more advanced. So without mojo, without, you know, accounting for that, you're not going to be able to do that. And then there is the higher meaning of it. Because if you don't account for the JES channel, for example, then trying to figure out why are there 6 dimensions, 9 dimensions, 21 dimensions, whatever. Why? What does it mean? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have that, then you're just giving atom cracking technology to a child or a troll.
Right, right.
So what makes nuclear energy awesome is if apex is taken care of, meaning the human species is squared away. We're awesome. We're enlightened. We can crack atoms because it's part of us knowing what we're doing. Then it just augments our powers. If the knowledge of macro or micro actually gets greater than the knowledge of humans, then you have a lot of atrocities you have in the world, where people's understanding of gunpowder is superior than their understanding that, like, you know, binding someone's foot like that breaks their foot is totally stupid. Do you know what I mean? So that's actually fairly, like, simplistic morality that people should have gotten past, but they hadn't at that point. Yet they maybe have gotten past, like, technological marvels such as, you know, big seafaring vessels. So, but again, seafaring vessels really is mainly micro-macro, right? Water threshold tables, wind drag, things like that, but it doesn't account for who's piloting it, why, to where, to do what. That's all apex stuff. So that's something I'm hoping that the most enlightened scientists will accept, is once mojo was put on the board as a phenomenon, they will accept that as part of their micro-macro.
Yeah.
Because naturally they come from a very kind of vez and zez of, I need to measure water pressure. So we need to get to where they can measure the mojo. But the HD that's happening right now, as far as like videoing people, it's getting so crazy rich that I believe these subtle things that we can read as cues will be able to be put into an algorithm. And once that happens, then the ones that actually have a hero spirit will accept that that's actually part of the micro and macro and go with that.
That's going to be the big test.
But a lot of people who kind of are really focused on either the micro or macro or combination of the two, they work with a very reductionistic view of things. And whether they know it or not, and we mentioned this before, I think Mitchell and I were talking about this, I think we're all in Naiji Temple. Occam's razor is a noble principle, but there's a fake version of it. The noble version is you take the fewest steps that will actually answer the question, but you canvas enough to actually get what you need to answer it, and then you go the fewest, the most seamless, simple step answer. But a lot of people, particularly in the quote-unquote empirical areas of, say, science, whatever, they will call like their limited view with their empiricism as a call to Occam's razor. That, like Mojo, for example, would be complicating the issue. No, it's simply one of the units that's on the board. That is the most influential unit. So it's there, and now it'll have to be counted for. It's going to make for a lot more complicated math. Like, for example, there's lots of micro. Another micro would be math in human brain. Trying to break down what the human brain psyche is doing by breaking down every single cell, and what every single cell is doing, and so on and so forth. Okay, but at the end of the day, you still don't know how to be a human if you can't just look at it as Mojo. You know what I mean? That's like dissecting a jaguar. You know how all its cells work, but you have no idea how a jaguar actually moves.
Or how it lives.
You need all of it.
Concept.
You need to compile all that information holistically in order to really put it all together.
Holistic.
Yeah, there's a difference between being very knowledgeable and very smart about something and being wise about like how it is that creature, how it is that something, how it is that like it all relates to in a very universal kind of way.
And also those, as you do that, the data and the patterns they get fuzzier, they get more complex. They don't follow smooth
right
rhythms.
Yeah.
And because of that, it can make you want to quit. But kind of like quantum mechanics, you have objects disappearing and reappearing, and that's like not supposed to happen, but it is. Right. So once that's observed, that's happening. Now we just have to keep studying and researching and experimenting to explain why, when you go into subatomic structures, you have teleportation. You don't have teleportation anywhere else in existence, but apparently you go down there and you start having teleportation.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but you get the idea. I mean, it's
we don't know at the level of the electron.
Well, there's definitely some sort of break-in like that. That's supposedly not happening. You can't do that in nature, but there it is. And because of it, it makes you have to go the long route, because Occam's razor it's going to operate just like the larger units we've been working with, just smaller.
Yeah, I mean, at larger units, it gets canceled out.
Easier. But sometimes it's not a clean, easy answer, because apparently when you go beneath a certain size, they start acting different. Yeah. And then you have to study why that is. And the same thing here in reverse, going bigger. As you go out to Shiny Mojo, at some point you really can't study the pixels of a painting. You've got to look at the painting.
Yeah.
And actually,
you just look at it.
What's the motif, or what's the overall message of this piece?
Yeah, the artistic appreciation. You have to do that properly.
And as you get bigger like that, the data gets fuzzier and harder to work with. And so I understand that, but you do have to actually address any data that's put on the board. Once data is confirmed, even if it's really confusing and throws off early calculations, if it's there, you have to start trying to explain why. All right, what's next?
Was there any other sample that people felt they wanted to go through?
I mean, tool time, I know most people got right.
Cool.
I again felt lower lip. It's the same thing. I felt like I saw a lot of Z there, so I'm very, very confused.
Oh, but anyway, to cap it off, long story short, yes. I have to say that because in IG, you can actually be brilliant.
There's this one video that he made called College Idiots or something, and he went on like this huge rant, like the tool time dude.
Uh-huh.
And I just felt like I was seeing
over the past several months.
Being smart doesn't necessarily mean your morality is in check.
Over the past several months.
I mean, right away with him, his upper lip had a lot of movement to the point. Actually, I was considering, because of the pucker, I was considering Zaini, because he had a significant pucker and also Zaini. So that's what I ended up with.
Yeah, I think you can see the modulation. The Zai takes away from the charisma, and that's not going to look the same as it would for a Ziny. A Ziny is going to be much more crisp. It's going to be a lot more energetic, and for him, I can definitely note the monotone quality in his voice, and his face, just in general, it looks more drained in a way, and that kind of made me really think that he has Zai as modulation.
Most of the
And
harassment
he has
was happening away from
also
the conference.
percussive.
The upper lip. Oh yeah.
Yeah, his cadence is
Typically, the
percussive.
less bureaucratic paperwork.
Yeah.
And I really see the upper lip, like, in him.
Yeah,
We
the
were
upper lip.
tipped off
Like it just keeps popping up with the emoting. It's like,
on his side,
Keeps
essentially.
snarling with his upper lip.
Agree with their decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah, here.
you can sometimes.
Very, like,
You can definitely
hypnotic.
note
No, it's
dissatisfaction.
Tipped off into hypocrisy land.
His eyes also look very hooded.
Why?
He's got this kind of
is
he tries to play down his anger by being sort of like sarcastic or maybe sometimes cynical or something. I don't know, but you can definitely tell that there's a.
I think he expresses his anger, but he probably has a lot of Zion stuff, so that sort of gives him a slightly more calmish, faux calmish, look to him. While he's kind of ranting.
Yeah, he tries to be more
But
professional.
it is
about
very
it.
persuasive.
against
His
feminists
rants.
without really.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
His hands.
Like he's still
Like
really
he's
gets into
story.
his
He's like
rants,
us telling a story,
Yeah.
Yet many of his own statements
Exactly.
and he has
does.
a very
Very much.
hypnotic voice.
He claims that
Yep.
feminists
And when you do see his
ruin
hands,
secular
they're not
conferences with restricted
spider, but for me, I was
guidelines.
between Naiji and Zaidi. And they also didn't look Gumby.
Professional victims of slavery.
In fact, I can really hear the dissatisfaction in his voice. Like he sounds like really like he has a lot of anger and intensity. Like
These conferences.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Maybe that pushed me towards Z.
But I like, Xenai also have dissatisfaction. But so I mean, if we're comparing Xenai and Naishi, we should focus on the.
Xenai I feel like they're a lot more
And of course,
like there's the amazing atheist. If you compare him to Tool Time, you can notice that there's a lot more of a.
if your
He
prime
doesn't. He
is
does a
on
lot of cool articulation. He does like this anvil-y kind of posturing, double jut kind of quality. Whereas with Tool Time, he's a lot more. He kind of stays more. He's talking and he's monologuing, and then he'll come out every now and then. But it's not as on the camera as much as like a Xenai would be. I think.
Definitely.
People
Yeah, and even with like Amazing Atheist, you see the bracing, but then resonating on the right. So you see him, the lower jaw like going slack a lot. With this guy, when he presses forward, then I see warmth.
Yeah, he's a lot more soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Xenai don't tend to be that way. They tend to be very hard-hitting and.
Yeah.
Especially viral like YouTube. In fact, this is such a big deal for him that he is willing to let this thing evolve into some sort of full-blown schism. I'm a solid.
Yeah, now I'm seeing more upper lip.
And civil wars, the ones that kill more of your guys than any others, should be avoided at all costs. But this poisonous meat has worked itself in so far. It's become so distracting, so diversional, that I now fully.
He also like his eyes. They looked like other Naiji. Like they kind of ripped off of other Naiji wearing glasses for me, including myself. Like when I wear glasses, my eyes kind of look like his.
That I a little noticed even.
So
like hide behind the glasses in a way, right? They kind of act as a kind of barrier between you and the world in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These conferences, I read these blogs, and so I wouldn't have to hear about these people if not for Thunderfoot. Hell, I've been planning back to my happy days when I actually knew who none of these people were. I second that, but it is Thunderfoot who keeps bringing these.
But you see that the way he just
very-
said "but"? I thought that was very G, not Z.
Sort of
It was
righteous
very like an emphasizing point.
about Thunderfoot.
very dissatisfied, very persuasive, very
Where it matters, because apparently.
really enunciating hard on key points. But yeah, and that's.
Thankfully, these PC bullies really cannot get much purchase on the open forum of free speech. That is on YouTube. These things in oneness are an utter non-event. The point I'm getting at here is that I think that Thunderfoot is in need of taking his own advice.
Yeah, very very hooded eyes.
Problem is the first step in moving towards an appropriate solution. So this is apparently a small group of people he's going after who had
Are
an
we-
impact
yeah.
on
Cool.
the economy.
Alright, let's
which
go into Act
itself-
3, the advanced portion. Mitchell, who we got?
Oh, I have videos. Let's see. This person. Scott Aronson is a theoretical computer scientist and faculty member in electrical engineering and computer science department at MIT.
Cool. What's his name?
Scott Aronson. I have
Aronson.
I have videos. I'll put them in.
You have videos?
Yes, I'll deal with it.
And that's double A, I think?
Yeah.
Yes, double A.
Double A.
Double A. Double A batteries.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Here you go. It seems like it's good enough footage. Fairly short one to start with.
Quantum compute.
Let me snag that.
Oh, do you need the link, Glenn?
I just
Yeah, yeah.
posted it.
You put it in?
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you, Charlie.
Like hypothetical machine that would exploit
So
the
this is him?
principles of quantum
Yes, that's him.
that govern the subatomic world in order to solve certain problems much faster than we know how to solve them with any computer today. Quantum mechanics has been, the basic framework for almost all of physics for nearly a century. What it says is that if you don't know, what state a system is in, like you don't know if an electron is in its ground state, its lowest energy or the next higher energy. Well, the issue with that it could take to reach it, and some is based on bits. Which are a bunch of elements that can be either definitely 0 or definitely 1. Now,
I feel like I want to draw your guys' attention to his arms, his hands.
Sorry, Glenn, I didn't hear you.
I feel like I want to draw your guys' attention to his arms and hands.
the most popular articles
Oh.
is that if you do
Yeah.
0 and 1 at the
It's gonna
same
stand out to me.
figure it out, to read out an answer. So is
No, maybe it's the best video.
square root of a probability. Now, the key point is
Oh,
that
this is-
a number can have
maybe
more
it should
than
go
one square root. For example,
Is there a better-
for a negative answer,
Yeah, is there
Is this one too distracting? Yeah.
has like more
Is,
continuous
computer.
footage?
Yeah, yeah. Do
Ones and zeros.
on a massive
you want another video?
and the
Yeah,
goal
please.
is
Yeah, if possible, I think would be better.
As I
This
couldn't
one's got a
tell.
lot of cuts in it.
Keep you continue quiet. This one doesn't look like it has any. Okay, short, but it's got a lot of like lectures and stuff.
Should you also send the link?
Yes, I can. Here it is.
Thank you.
I'm interested in quantum computing and in computational complexity theory in general. I'm interested in the limits of quantum computers, like the study of what we can't do with computers.
Yeah,
that we
shiny
don't have.
baby for
Yeah,
science.
and just what are the fundamental limits on computation? And
Yeah, I like his energy. It seems a lot.
The idea of quantum computing.
Seems very kind and
A lot of people thought that maybe this is a
genuine in a way.
how to do absolutely everything. You
Very affable.
gotta solve these famously hard problems, but incomplete problems, by just trying every possibility in parallel. Okay, today we actually have a lot of evidence that not
I seem
proof
to see a lot of
that,
energy on his
different
eyes,
quantum
Definitely.
which is
computers
making me
have a
think
hard
that
time
perhaps
because
five
of
field
complete problems.
space.
I see.
Yeah, I'm getting that too.
For sure. I see
Problems
flutter
relative
action too. like those like jets forwards that he like
I see
bobbles.
quick. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not quite
P equal NP, which means
convinced what it
which
is, but I do see that.
Anytime you could program the
I just
computer
see
The whip though.
Yeah, the whip.
solution to a problem, you could also program your computer.
He's got also
computer
some very interesting creases on his lips, on his corners of his lips.
Yeah.
Really interested in the scaling.
Yeah, interesting.
All sorts of practical problems, like maybe drug design,
His hands are looking a little
maybe,
heavy when they. I mean,
all sorts of optimization problems.
more viscosity
that we don't know how to
perhaps.
solve. So I think it would be a net
Maybe.
benefit. Now, yes, it would,
Not
break most of the cryptography that we currently use on the internet. But I see that as, sort of a more minor thing by comparison, right?
I'm not sure that I'm seeing the emoting go up that much.
Such as
I'm not really getting that either so far.
Not that.
I see
yeah.
cheeks right now.
They look like they're going to.
It's like the eyes are still very much showing.
Yeah.
The emoting.
That yes. Do you have a
I'm not sure I'm seeing cheeks,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
I'm far from clear on that, but that's just
Interesting.
preliminary.
Seeing what?
Oh, I said I'm not quite sure I'm seeing the moon going into the cheeks yet.
Gotcha. Thanks. That's good. I didn't hear. I just didn't hear what you said. Yeah, I've got it on the video.
Something else?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Mitchell's loading it up. Have you did you post the link for this one, Mitchell? Or could you? If you have
you did.
Yep.
Great, thanks.
I'm interested in what are the
Okay.
limits.
Felt like he did some warm resonating.
He's doing this
a lot
like
of what I do is
a maneuver of the
which are a proposed
two objective powers.
Yeah, yeah.
exploit, the strange laws of quantum mechanics
Yeah, they're-
to solve certain
And this doesn't
problems
look boundary
yeah,
set in any
a
way.
lot faster than they could be solved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting directive so far.
Yeah.
I like to call
He
it.
doesn't seem like he has hunterish eyes to him, does he? Or even pilot eyes.
The real thing that excites me is that quantum mechanics really
I think I've seen
changes,
Bobble. I don't know about you
theory of
guys.
computation. It's been around.
Leaning
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So,
His eyes seem kind of
what does it
adaptive, kind of
mean? Might have thought or just sort of philosophically
Yeah,
kind
more
of knee-like to me.
affected
That's
by
fair.
Yeah.
of the physics, and we want to know kind of how much of the theory of computing has to be rewritten, in the light of modern physics. How much of it stands as it is. Most popular articles,
Does that sound like cool articulation?
presented as really a magical thing. It could do absolutely anything, right? So you could just
Not sure that I can.
use the quantum weirdness
Well,
to try
it
all
has
the
a little
possible answers
graveliness to it.
and instantly pick the best one. Okay, now one of the most important things you
But more lift than anything
research is
else.
that, that's not how it works. You get
It
to
looks like Gmail to me.
laws, are different than the classical ones. It's like a different kind of probability.
Upper lip emphasis.
But, we-
But
Yeah,
I
don't know.
see actually
I don't know. I
lower
agree with
lip.
that.
People don't like to can't do, right?
I feel like I'm seeing a
But on
strong
the other
case.
hand, it may take them a lot of effort, right? A lot of,
I think it'll stay a little open-ended and
an algorithm
see
doesn't
more,
exist,
but-
for example. Well, it'll help a lot. I'll be able to support my students. I'll be able to support new postdocs, and I won't have to write grants for a while.
I also don't think it's going into the cheeks.
Alan Turing in the 1930s, right, was thinking about what could and couldn't
Does
by a
I
computer.
feel like the reason why the cheeks might not be moving so much
About these things.
is because he might have cool articulation, and that might cause him to
Really because of
this
curiosity,
angle going on a lot more.
sort of what are the limits of mathematical thought itself.
Okay, and so.
No, I can see that the cheeks are moving, but they're not in motive way. They're kind of.
Okay, and yet, in retrospect, it's, the foundational work that he and other people did that really made possible the information. Okay, so, I mean, you can find more recent examples, right? People, I mean, I talked about this whole modern cryptography that relies on the hardness and
How about
factor
that?
numbers, right? That all came out of this very basic theoretical questions people were asking.
Seems like just some punchy G below the midline to me.
Track record, I think, is that, people just ask basic questions about, what does computation mean, what can you do, and what can you not do, right? Has had, a huge effect on society, and, I think probably...
I see the knee eyes, though. I mean...
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who I personally got to know, I would say Umesh Goswami, my advisor. He had the saying to concentrate on the high order bits, right? But, just concentrate on the important.
Maybe, I'm gonna look at some images. I need to kind of cross-contextualize here.
Would have showed that by example.
Would you say that?
For high school students, the biggest piece of advice I would have is that, there is a wider world out there, right? And, if, you're, having a bad social life in high school, well, guess what? I did too, hang in.
What was that, Ademus?
I'm being drawn a bit more toward. I'm feeling myself drawn toward Nizai right now, and I'm kind of exploring.
I see.
Yeah. Right now, I'm sort of exploring Nijai.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sort of starting to try and see Nijai, see if I can kind of see where your headspace is at more.
Yeah, and I for some reason think I'm seeing V-Zai. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
You're bad.
Not that V-Zai can't be, get into the same bubble, but no, actually, I think I might be. I'm trying to see if maybe Zaini or maybe I don't know, trying different mojos to see if I can make them work.
It's interesting though, because
Because for some reason the upper lip, I don't know.
The mouth?
I do see what you're saying about the upper lip. It's like now that I'm kind of looking at that.
Yeah, like that's why I've been seeing He-mouth like that.
Yeah.
There's two parts. There's his upper lip is if you split in half. There's two different parts, but they're going up, right? And that kind of makes me think.
Like this one right here, the way it opens, I see a strong pull on the upper lip.
Yeah.
Right. I can see what you're saying there. But to me it looks like it's just the jez being more higher up, and that's why it might be moving. But it looks very sort of unaware to me. It has this kind of a innocent kind of quality to it, and not caring to me personally.
It is a bit cherubic, and
that moding is tricky. It's because I can see why it almost looks inward to me. I'm looking at it in images and stuff.
I think he's one where maybe don't worry so much about a consensus. Just kind of go with where your heart desires. Just because
yeah,
I feel like there's a strong case for both right now.
There's only one right answer.
Yeah, there is only one right answer, but it is interesting to play around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to
Sure is.
Who do you think would be a good comparison to make it?
Yeah. That's,
If you don't want to force it, I don't think you should force it.
No, you should go with
Agreed.
where you're at.
Yeah,
Why don't we try doing some?
I might even just say knee alpha or something, but we'll see.
What are some knee alpha that would be good comparisons to make?
And a tank for
I feel like there's so much. I feel like there are plenty of scientific people that kind of have this look.
Can hold this way.
Does anybody see Infinity a little bit? Maybe not.
No, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't.
I don't see it.
I actually don't. Not in him. No.
Okay. No, this is good. This is good.
Yeah.
I mean,
not
not
exactly.
I don't know.
Not exactly.
I was gonna
can
say
see-
you'd smile, but no.
Well,
I don't think.
they illuminate what can and can't be done, in computation, according to the laws of physics.
He has like this baby face.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
true.
that could make things a little harder. I don't know.
He's doing slow, bobbly movements
Yeah,
a lot.
definitely.
So, Nialpha.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking alpha.
Who was that one Nizai guy from that Ron Burgundy movie? I don't remember what his name is.
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell, yeah. I want to try comparing him to him.
That's a good.
I'm guessing Steve Carell will look a bit different, but it might be able to find a rip.
Concentrate on the
Yeah. When I try to compare the two image, okay, I'm looking at it. It looks really different to me. The smile, the
Well,
cheeks.
Steve Carell has thinner lips.
Yeah, I don't know because
in
I don't know
general.
if
Yeah, I mean physically it just looks
one
different.
would be a good comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Carell doesn't fit that cherubic Nialpha riff either,
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But he does have a much more wider smile to me. I don't think I'm seeing that with Scott so much.
You guys see any Cheshire Cat?
Possibly. It's definitely like a triangular shape,
Yeah. Interesting.
So, but, you guys.
if it's ambient, then I'll enjoy it. But,
I feel like he does remind me of somebody though.
Like I'm getting
Oh, totally.
I'm getting a sense of inward, but I'm also getting a sense of buttery
I
almost.
feel like I've seen a lot of postdocs with this look. But that doesn't
It's
help.
IG.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know.
I wouldn't rule out Nige. I
Um,
wouldn't rule that out.
something.
That's probably the only
He could be a
name
very
out either.
covert hunter.
What's his name?
Really clandestine.
Scott Aronson, do you want me to put it in the chat?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, thank you. Scott Erickson.
Yeah.
One more interview, guys?
Yeah. Do you want to see like a TED Talk, which is a little farther away, and you'll see more like body?
Sure.
Sure.
Might be good, yeah.
Yeah, here's one.
Well, let's look at the link from that meeting.
All right, try it. There we go.
thanks. Well, let me tell you about quantum computing and the limits of the efficiently beautiful. So, Rick,
He's Ansari's Mojo. I think he's an Ijai.
Nijai.
but it's ironic that
It's interesting, yeah, because his body doesn't seem to be setting boundaries. I don't. That to me doesn't seem that way.
I mean, physics, nanotech, even molecular biology, he sort of had it covered. Which, he also lived in sort of a heroic era for science.
So I'm wondering. Okay, what do you guys think about like the Nigeria cakes for him? Like that. Could that be twitchy? Could that mean like HS?
Yeah, actually, that was one of the first things I noticed about him in this video. He seemed to be really twitching a lot.
Yeah, actually I really want to consider that case. A little bit.
He keeps throwing his arms up like
Maybe he's a
that.
babyface Nige or something, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
I mean
academic baby face.
Okay, and this is that Feynman never really appreciated pure math.
but we're seeing could that like are we seeing G?
Okay.
Yeah,
There's actually could be worth exploring that just for looking at G.
An immediate question that raised in my mind is where that's my own field of theoretical computer science. I'll leave you to speculate about that.
He has not stopped moving.
Give an example.
He keeps moving side to side,
Yeah.
and his head. He looks down. He's swinging his arms. He seems very nervous, but that nervousness, I don't think it can't come from me either.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily normal.
right.
That's true.
I don't know. I also feel like the way he's dressed seems kind of unaware in a way. Something about like the way he put himself
Yeah,
together.
something's off.
Well, but sometimes
Also-
Nigeria academics.
Yeah, I can tell you for sure that I would not go by how he's dressed.
That would be that
Yeah, I agree.
That's not a good idea.
We also closed off Nijai, and
Right.
and Nijez has a kind of nervous energy to it.
That's true.
Yeah, that could be.
I find those shoulders interesting. I wonder if it
Yeah.
has to do with the mojo or more,
That's
just
interesting.
genetic
Yeah,
physiology.
the roundedness.
More rounded shoulders.
There's a way to that they're standing. Actually.
Kind of bouncing up and down.
You see,
His hand movements seem really just unaware to me. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't seem like he's got any kind of
Yeah,
See?
it doesn't seem
desire.
like
Yeah.
some sort of like directive yang gesturing, like professorial, like how directives will do in professorial mode, where it's more correlated with the message there. The gesturing is more correlated to the message.
Yeah,
It's
that's
more
right.
calculated,
We're
right?
not
It's
really
more,
seeing that here.
yeah, and it doesn't seem aware to me either.
But it is. Kind of,
I'm still kind of open to aware.
I was wondering, like, if I could draw your attention on the percussiveness of, or not, of his gesturing, like when he does stuff.
It's kind
Yeah,
of got
like
like
does
this
it
little
look like
snap at the
Gumby
end.
Claw to you?
I don't know that it looks like a
It's not.
claw.
No, his hands are kind of like doing this sort of that, like.
uh,
But I
yeah,
mean, that could just be that's just nervous energy. But I mean,
yeah.
He's well, he's certainly genetic.
also like notice how he's kind of like he's standing, but he's like kind of moving back and forth, like.
Yeah, like this nervous sway.
Yeah, nervous
Yeah,
sway.
constantly. He
I
does
mean,
not
I know
stop.
I have a lot of nervous sway, but I'm sure other motors do too.
I have a ton of it too.
You know,
Phase two.
Yeah, trust me this.
Heavily.
it's kind of like looking down, sort of. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not actually. I actually am not leaning towards 9G. I'm just sort of making a case for it.
No, that's totally fair.
Devil's advocate.
And he's not doing a lot of looking at the crowd and like drinking.
Yeah, he's
yeah,
avoiding
he's
eye
kind of looking
contact.
down, like kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
He lacks a bit of confidence, I'd say.
Like
I
in the
said-
first interview, his hands didn't look too relaxed. I
At
don't
least
know.
in this
They looked
particular
like they were
interview.
kind of.
But it really is just as interesting. Okay, so
His voice, it sounds way too just like.
It seems like
to me, I don't know.
a nervous energy, twitchy.
so basically what it says is that if you have a fast computer program,
It's funny.
Yeah, it's a lot of nerves there.
Wow.
It is.
then is there also fast computer programs?
I can't like
So all of the
falsify any of the
ordinary
possibilities because like I feel like I can't distance from the other. It's like I haven't really dismissed the possibility of something else yet.
I
Yeah.
just don't. I'm
Yeah.
not being
Nothing's been ruled out other than
Well,
perhaps the V and Vi.
that's the thing. It could just be.
false.
I've mostly heard the Ni Alpha and Ni G.
Yeah, that's what we've.
been making.
Ziny doesn't seem likely to me at all. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't
Yeah,
really see
yeah, I'm
either.
pretty sure he's
I'm
messing
not-
up.
I'm not getting like
Very
calming
well.
tower from him.
I doubt Nizy, I doubt Zinai.
And gatherer.
Yeah.
Not a fighter or a tower.
Uh-huh.
It seems more driven by information. Like,
Yeah, perception.
Yeah, yeah, oh, for sure.
And
question is some cameos on
Hmm. I wish I remembered who that one Nizai guy was that did that water bucket challenge. That he has the
Yeah,
Nizi wife.
that's actually something I was thinking of. You know, I kind
Yeah,
of speculated
I
Nizai.
feel like I want to compare him to that guy.
Questions.
Yeah, do you know his name or? I can't remember his name at all. But
Then is this an Izai we did as a live read once?
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Well, like a nice. I do remember that. I don't remember his
Wait,
name.
which
Maybe I
one,
can
which
look
one
it
are you
up.
talking about? The
We thought
scientist?
he was. Yeah,
Was that during
I think-
Mike's
Greg
quiz?
Petsko.
I think so. Yeah.
Hetsko?
Mike
That was
Petsko.
my guy. Greg Petsko.
Greg Petsko.
Like, there's certain pictures of him.
This is a profound question. Now, according
Hmm.
I'm looking at this one picture of him. I wonder what you guys think.
try to explain the
I don't know. I feel like I'm looking at the pictures and it looks like I can see the G aware mouth with him.
yeah,
Like that one picture looks kind of G to me, but I just sent.
They look kind of different.
next question. Okay.
Assuming that's actually him. I mean, because it looks a little different from other ones, but.
I'll point out that if we computer science and physicists, we would have long ago declared
If he's a Nijai, he's doing a heck of a lot of Jai. But I don't I don't know.
nature.
I also
Seems
don't
more
think
like
I'm seeing any Zai cheeks.
Probably would have been done with it. There would have been no.
I mean, like he does have a rounder face, so that's kind of.
Yeah.
I think he might just be nervous inside. Because I'm still not getting like boundaries.
Like, I mean, like, is this HSP aware or unaware? Because like Nizai actually also have aware HSP, so that's something.
Yeah,
else.
That's true.
Everything about what he's doing seems unaware to me. I feel like he doesn't even know that he's moving around as much as he thinks he is.
Yeah, but it's
think he's
very
just-
different, the aware HSPs of those two images.
I don't know. But
Aware
it's actually,
HSP
his nervousness seems a lot like how I would be nervous. I don't know. I mean, I'm not like in a knee alpha.
Cody Harrison.
Yeah, I feel like I also like you were saying, Glenn, that you see a lot of unawareness. Like, I'm actually not sure I see that. Like, I see him looking down and kind of looking back up. But when he looks up, I feel like I see a locking of his emoting. Like, you know, like using kind of G to connect with the crowd.
connect with the crowd.
Does that make
I'll watch out for that.
Yeah, I'll take a look at I'll be on the lookout.
All right, 7:35. So
Yeah,
maybe,
we're watching
pictures
this
and
one.
something else wrap, kind of close in.
Right, widely obsessed with proving the limitations of freedom. And most of us already achieve anyway. So I think that nothing better illustrates to actually prove what the limitations
I don't know.
are better than.
I mean, I'll just have a top three sets of, top three choices. That's all I can do.
Many of us have
Going up in the air from there.
which is inherent in our description.
Now I'm picking Nizai. Oh no.
He is going to go down as my Nizai is right now my top.
But you know, I
choice, but
think
it's weak.
Nishai would be my second. I think that's.
I have to be on this one.
But I don't know, Naiji. I don't know. It's just like when I look into those eyes, I'm not even
Then,
like certain images almost look like it could be 9G, but
then that's much harder than multiply.
I gotta say, I do feel like we're getting kind of hung up on his nervousness.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
yeah, maybe this one interview is just kind of throwing us. Like, maybe, you know,
Yeah, and I don't think we have time for
It's like-
another interview. But yeah, the nervousness.
like
is
this
definitely-
is the one interview where we start knowing 9G. I guess I don't know. We don't have time to go back though, but.
I was considering that the whole time.
Considering
Oh,
what,
Nice shape.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Considering, and I'm not saying it.
Oh yeah, but it's good to.
It definitely is to be considered.
It wasn't this video that made me consider that. Because I also know the person.
Oh, what about Linus Torvalds?
3 minutes.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Linus Torvalds. What do you guys think about him?
definitely, right there with you.
Whose line is this from?
Creative Linux. I didn't bring him up just because I felt like Linus Torvalds' mouth does look a little bit more overtly Cheshire Cat, like bam, bam. Like he macks more. So even though I felt a draw to that fourth gear, I wasn't really gonna throw it out there just because I was like, eh.
But like, yeah, but it's weird. Like certain images, I'm able to cross-contextualize to them.
No, yeah.
I can see how that is.
Yeah, I'm glad someone else thought of that though.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards Nizai actually.
But his hands, even his hands, I can see Gumby there. I can see in Linus Torvalds. I don't see Gumby in the other
I
one.
don't feel that way.
That you don't see it?
Yeah, that's not cool Gumby.
Okay. Yeah,
At the
it
yeah,
just doesn't jump out again.
at the end of the day, it's subjective. So
yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, there's
Well, no.
I feel like this is buoyant. Like
Our experience of what we feel kind of drawn to in certain.
true.
Like I look at him, I'm like, this looks like a knee alpha to me. Like even with all this nervousness, whatever, it's just.
1 minute.
Uno minuto.
There is this one Nijai dude. I can't remember his name, but he's kind of. Why don't we just try looking at Pauly Shore or somebody? I don't know.
What's that, Lyman? What about Pauly Shore?
I just don't know. Like I feel like I want to compare him to Pauly
Oh,
Shore.
you were serious? I thought you were joking.
No, that's not the person that I'm really thinking about. But he's kind of one Nijai that could maybe work. But there's another one. He's older. He's kind of like a little bit more bald.
How about Zach Brown?
Who? Mitchell, I think on your last quiz, there was this one Naiji scientist dude.
Okay.
Time.
So guys, okay, I'm gonna go around and get your reads. We'll start with you, Glenn. Where are you at?
Okay, I'm gonna be quick. Nijai, then Nizai, and then Naiji.
Okay. How about you?
Nizai, Naiji.
Okay. Ben?
Nizai, Naiji, Nijai.
Okay.
I'm with Ben. Exact.
Same with Nizai, Naiji.
Nizai, Naiji, Nishai.
I'm gonna go Naiji, Nizai, Nishai.
Nijai.
Yes!
Whoa.
Or to riff, a young Henry Kissinger.
Henry Kissinger.
Really? Wow.
So then the Infinity riff wasn't too far off.
Yeah, I guess so.
We kind of doubted it. It was, no.
Right.
Even Infinity doubted it.
Well, we were, you know.
Younger.
Yeah.
I think we all didn't we all guess like.
Yeah.
Oh, most of us guessed
We're also
Nijai.
with Nishai.
And Naiji, you know, Nijai.
Yeah, that's why I was throwing those riffs.
So I'm going off the rails, yeah.
Okay.
We still narrowed it down quite well to a good proximity. I mean, like we knew it was one of those three. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is true that both the Nijes have quite a bit of nervous energy.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and call it a night because we have a mission at the coffee shop to go to. But the Nijes Temple will be canceled tomorrow because Charlene and I are still working to finish up the Nijai ebook, but it's very close.
Okay.
If you need any help, then just you can.
Yeah, let us know.
I've got now, so I think we should have it ready for the next temple to present.
Cool.
So, but Nijai Temple is still on. Okay.
Alright.
Awesome.
Have a good night, everyone.
That was a lot of fun, everyone. Have a great
It
night.
was.
Awesome. Good night.
Good night.
See ya.